Hey guys, it's Elizabeth with the Four Walls Podcast. Today we have Miss Maria. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
I'm excited to be here. This is my first podcast, so
Woo! Well, let's hope it's going to be a great one.
yeah.
So, we'll just kind of get started with one of your favorite travel memories that you have.
Okay, yeah. This is such a hard one because like they all start to blur together after one point or another. But honestly, I'd have to say it was like my first like solo trip where I kind of realized that I could just do it all without a plan and like that feeling of freedom and also complete chaos of like I don't even have a place to sleep tonight. Oh, you're going to Belgium? I'll follow you there. That sounds like a fun time. So just getting on a flight with a one-way ticket was just like a crazy experience, which my first one-way flight was probably to it was when I was studying abroad in Spain, and I went to France for Christmas, and I just didn't know when I was coming back, and I was like, I'm just gonna go explore Europe, and I found all sorts of trouble.
So, your first one-way ticket. You said so your first we'll go back and back and back. Your first solo trip. Where was that to?
It was actually, I don't know if I count my study abroad as like a solo trip because it was with an
Okay.
organized
Mhm.
group.
I
So I
understand.
did like a weekend away in Madrid,
Mm.
and then after that, I was like, oh, I can do everything on my own. Awesome. And then I booked a flight to France for Christmas by myself.
So that weekend in Madrid, you didn't even have a place to stay?
No. I had I didn't know what to expect, so I think I booked like one night or maybe two nights, but it was all sold out because of Halloween weekend. Didn't It's a huge thing in Madrid. Book in advance,
Dang.
by the way. And so I only found like two nights available, and I was like, I'm sure I'll find something. And I did. Someone canceled and I got the room, and it's okay. My third night got saved. I missed the bus on the way home, but I got another one.
It's okay. That is hilarious. I feel like Halloween is one of those holidays, like me being an American, I'm like, it's an American thing. Why would anyone else celebrate this? And then you go abroad and it's like, we don't even celebrate it. Like, what is this?
No, every country does it better than us, and I'm like, I thought we had that one in the bag. No.
Meanwhile, we're the worst ones.
Yeah. What are we good at? I don't know.
Man, so your trip to China, how was that? Like, what cities did you go to?
Yeah, so I started in Chongqing, then I went to uh Xi'an, and then Beijing my first time there, and I fell in love with it. And I actually went to Japan after that, and I was like, Japan's cool, but I like China better. And I saw a reel where I was like, study Kung Fu in like China, and I was like, I want to do that. So I got my Chinese visa and I went back for 2 months in Chufu, which is a really random city where like the only other tourists you see are other Kung Fu students.
How was that experience? That is so cool.
It was honestly incredible. I was in the best shape of my entire life. My new life accomplishment is breaking a brick in half with my hand. I was like, I don't know. It was epic. So I got in such good shape and I felt so good. I was like, I'm just gonna live here forever and like become like a kung fu master. I did have to come back to the States for my friends. They decided to get married and I was a bridesmaid, so I couldn't miss that.
Dang, those dang friends. That is such a cool experience, though. Was that like probably, I mean, that sounds like the best thing you probably could have done in China, but other than that, like what were the really cool things that stuck out to you?
Honestly, China was such an amazing, diverse country. The people are so friendly. They might seem a little like, I don't know, not shy, but standoffish. But if you open up your Google Translate app and try to have a conversation with them, you have like a best friend. They're like so like you feel famous. If you're like a a girl from the States or even Europe, they're like taking pictures with you. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like Beyonce here? Like, yes, thank you. I'm so excited. Or like, I don't know. And I felt like Barbie, and everyone's so nice, and it's so high tech. So how it was explained to me is China is like what Japan was in the 80s, but now it's probably more advanced and modern. Like you don't use cash and you do not use cards. Everything's done with apps and scanning QR codes.
Dang.
None of our apps work there, so you have to get a really good VPN, which I have a cheap one. Let's go VPN. Not sponsored, but that's like the only one I found that worked. So that way you can use all your apps, but you have to like pre-download a prepaid SIM, download all the apps that they use, so you can get things like they have a like a Chinese DD app, like Maps. Google Maps is not always right, especially in Shufu. It's like a
Dang.
chaotic city. It's like on like this mountain and everything's different layers, and you're on like the 70th floor, but you're ground level here, and like but you're 70 stories down on the other side. Um, so it's definitely a learning curve, and it's probably not like for beginner travelers, but someone who's been backpacking, like you can definitely figure it out. But if you don't have a VPN before you go, because no one really speaks English there, definitely can
Hmm.
be a bit of a challenging place to get around, that's for sure, because you need internet. That's how you're gonna survive.
So what VPN did you find that worked really well?
Let's go VPN. Yeah, I actually ended up making like a reel about all of the apps I use because I researched it for like 4 hours and everyone was saying different things because the firewall constantly like eliminates certain VPNs. But let's go. It was super cheap,
Dang.
and if you get premium, you're like covered. So it
Oh,
was.
beautiful. I love that. So how was it getting your visa?
So for me, it was difficult because I was getting it in Japan. And I did it all last
Mm,
minute, if you can see a trend here. So if you were like, hey, I'm going to go to China in like 5 months, 4 months, even like 2 months or a month in advance, you're going to have a lot easier time than I did because I had to expedite it and I was working in a foreign country. But it's a lot easier than people think it is. Like Americans will not have an issue getting it. You can actually go to China without a visa. It's called a transit visa for 10 days, but
hmm.
you have to have a flight into China and a flight to another country that's not the United States. So, if you don't want a visa
Mm,
and you just want like to see the Great Wall in a day or do a crazy road map like I did in 10 days, it's a possibility.
okay, that's really good to know. It's nice that you have options, especially if like a lot of people like to backpack through Asia. So I feel like that's a nice little stopover.
Yeah, it's like great little like quick go through to before you get to like Japan or I went to Mongolia afterwards, so it was literally just in between.
How was that?
Mongolia is my favorite country I've ever been to.
No way. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, so I've been to 30 countries so far, but like I swear I've found freedom in Mongolia. Like that is my new statement
Dang.
on it. Because they just everyone in the country pretty much lives a nomadic lifestyle except in like there's pretty much like one city in the whole country and the
Hmm.
country is massive and everyone it's definitely another one that's a bit hard to navigate because you have to have transportation. There's not really public
Mm,
transport. And you're just driving for hours and you don't see houses, you don't see buildings. You'll pass through little towns, but they're really small. And you'll see all these like
hmm.
birds of like people like milking horses and like riding. And it, if you do you know the movie Spirit by
I
chance?
don't think so.
Okay, well, I
Uh,
always compare it to that, but it's like wild horses like roaming through like this grassland. It looks like a Windows screensaver, like through half the country.
wow.
And you just see like the eagles and like like the biggest herd of animals that are just natural and like going and there's like deserts and like camels wandering around. And I'm like, what is this place? Like I swear I died and I was like in this like purgatory, like heaven-esque landscape. And like I had such a crazy experience because I made no one speaks English there much either.
Hmm.
So we booked our accommodation last minute, not realizing that there was a huge festival going on. So we were in this not the nicest hotel, all right? Luckily, I had a friend with me, thankfully. And the lady did not speak English. The Wi-Fi, the
Hmm.
translation in Mongolian was terrible. And so the lady was just like, brings us to this door of this random person, knocks on it, and they're like, you know English, right? And they had a conversation. They're like, help these girls. And he was like, hello. And he's like, English was okay. And then we became friends, and he took us all over the city. And then he's like, you want to go on a road trip with me and my friend? And we were like, yeah. So we went like on a 2 week long like road trip with these two random Mongolian people, and it was the best experience of my life. We just camped and we just pulled off the road, drove up into the mountain and like camped, and it was crazy.
Wow. Wow, that is such an experience. Okay. And that's like something you can't buy, you know what I mean? Like that.
No, and I feel so bad because they're like, "Do you have any tips?" And I'm like, "I got really lucky. Like I didn't even book a tour. Like I don't know how to help you." So, but there's a lot of group chats on Facebook that because it's kind of a hard one to navigate. So,
Yeah, for sure. The tip is to just be open-minded.
yes, make Mongolian friends. Find a person
That
who
is
speaks
so
English and
cool.
go with them.
So wait, they milk, but I'm like, you said they milk horses. That's so different.
They do. And they drink this fermented horse milk.
Mm,
I tried it. It's not my cup of tea, but some
okay.
people really like it. For
Is
me,
it
it
like a
tastes like
creamy kombucha?
actually that's not 100% off, but it's like I compared it to like spoiled yogurt
Mm,
mixed in kombucha maybe, and then you might it's not really sweet, and they have a lot of things that are
mm,
flavored that way, and
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely try it.
It's something to try. You gotta try
It's
it.
something to try. And like it's just crazy because they're so in touch with their heritage. Like, like Genghis Khan, like the whole
Hmm.
festival was them like doing archery on horseback and like this sort of Mongolian wrestling, and it's just so cool to see like the heritage carried through and like their traditional clothing. It was so unique. I've never seen anything like it.
That is such an amazing experience, how it just all really worked together for you. Like the festival and then meeting this other Mongolian that speaks English, and you're like, wow, this is our whole trip. We're good.
Yeah, like
But also, like, I feel like that speaks to them as a people too. Like the fact that they just met you and they're like, do you want to come with us on this trip? Like, hey.
yeah. It was so nice of them. And they were like such like gentlemen and super kind. I will say I definitely trust, like, don't just go off with any Mongolian people because some of them were a little like creepy because again, we're like Caucasian, we're unique, so we got a lot of
Hmm.
scares. No, I wouldn't say everyone in Mongolia I would go on a road trip with, just in case
Hmm.
anybody's listening and just gets in someone's random car. Please don't do that. We knew them for a few days before, and we did trust our instincts, and it was a bit of a risk, but we're now best friends. I just want to put that warning label out there.
So did you go anywhere after Mongolia, or was that like kind of the end of the trip?
So after Mongolia is when I went to Japan, and then I
Hmm.
went back to China, and China was kind of my last stop. But before that, I was actually I did like they call it the banana pancake loop or something like that. It's like the Southeast Asia loop. So I was doing Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos.
Hmm. Okay. And out of those four, which one was like the most remarkable to you?
My favorite country was Cambodia. I will have to say out of
Really?
those ones. I loved it. I thought the people were super kind. It wasn't as touristic as Thailand, but it had a lot of the
Hmm.
same attributes. And it was still raw, but well maintained enough where you could get around easy and like kind of built up. And the history there is incredible and also terribly depressing. And,
Hmm.
traveling through Southeast Asia as an American is just like I just want to hang my
Sorry.
sorry, like I'm like so sorry. I'm Canadian. I don't know, but I was honest, and like no one over there ever gave me a hard time, right? Like they don't hold
Hmm.
anything against us, like maybe we do against some countries. But
Hmm.
so I think we have a lot to learn. But I mean, it was just so cool to see their lifestyles. They had it was so unique. Like it was just nice to see something so like raw in like a country that's still developing and coming back from like a genocide and just
Hmm.
seeing how they lived. And I don't know, I just had a great time. Like they like had beer where you like pop off the caps and like you can win more beer or like money and like you could just buy the beer anywhere. And I was like, this is great. Like great marketing. I love it. And it was just so cool. And like they have like one of like I can't believe I never learned about it in my high school. Maybe other people have better educations. There's like Angkor Wat, which a lot of people are aware of, but it's like the size of London. And it's like a huge
Hmm.
ancient temple. And like I knew nothing about it when I showed up. And I was like, why doesn't everybody know about this place? Like this is so cool. Like who's still going to Egypt? Which I haven't been there, so I cannot say that statement, but I think like compared to like the Aztec temples I've seen in like South America, like it was just insane, the scale of it.
That's so cool. I love that you got to experience it like that. So did you stay in multiple cities and kind of go around the whole country, or?
Yeah, I did with like we only get like a month in Cambodia for our visas, or I probably would have stayed longer. But I was able to go to quite a few cities. I started in Angkor Wat, which is Panam no. Oh my goodness. What is Siem Reap? Siem Reap,
Mm.
and then I went to Battambang. And it's also really funny with like the tours they offer because it's not like it's like you go to some random person making like rice wine and they're like, "Oh, you got to try this one. It's like a cobra is soaked in it for like 10 years and like you take a shot of that after you give birth and it helps." And I'm like, "Love it. That's my kind of medicine." And then like after that you go see a bunch of cave bats fly out of a cave and then it's just like really fun, kitschy like tourist activities, I guess.
Hmm.
And then after that, there's like a bunch of islands that in
Mm.
which is are beautiful. Like they definitely give Thailand a run for their money. There's not as many of them, but they're not as crowded. So you have like a party island, you have like a really like low key island, and then there's a new island that's just developing, which I got to go when the resort just opened. So there was no other
Mm.
tourists on the island yet, and the locals were still so excited to see you, like, oh my gosh, like could walk into the town, and it was like the clearest water I've ever seen, and it was just like I paid like $6 a night, and it was like this whole resort with like a swimming pool and a private beach, and you know the dormitories were really nice, and they had a bunch of activities. There's definitely some kinks they had to work out, but it was for $6 a night. I was not complaining.
It's hard, right, to complain when it's like $6.
Yeah.
Man, so when you were doing all of this traveling, were you staying like in hostels or hotels or a mix?
So I don't typically stay in hotels. I prefer hostels. And
Hmm.
the only reason I wouldn't stay in a hostel is if I was staying there long term or if I found an Airbnb cheaper. So if I'm
Hmm.
traveling with more than one person, sometimes I'll do Airbnb if like we're gonna be there for a while, like a month, or if it's just like cheaper, there's really no good options hostels because like
Hmm.
I try not to stay in hostels that are rated low because like in a shared space,
Hmm.
like I mean, I've stayed in some rough accommodations, but oof, I got bed bugs once and never again. If it even says like a hint of that in the comments, I'm like, I'm out. Like, no, I cannot go through that. I'm traumatized. Which, by the way, my first bed bug experience happened in New York City. That wasn't even abroad. But now I like read all reviews for that. And my second time was in Nashville. Like, I've traveled all around the world, and it both times it happened to me in the States. I'm like, everyone's like, "Have you ever gone into any bad experiences abroad?" And I'm like, "No, but in the States I have." Like, I love my
No, for
home.
real.
I have some critiques.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I personally find like hostels a safer place to stay. I feel like
Hmm.
you can make so many new friends, and that's how you find out like a ton of tours to do, especially if you go there without a plan, like I typically do. And yeah, and typically like sometimes I'm like, oh, it's time for like a private room, or we need an
Hmm.
Airbnb, but typically it's not too bad.
Yeah, especially on those like long backpacking trips where you're like month after month, you're like, okay, I just need like a week to myself, please. Like, I'm tired of people.
Yeah. Month three, I stopped. I was like, no more pub crawls. Like we gotta stop. Like I can't do this again. And they're like, oh, you have to. You only live once. I'm like, I've been at this for a long time. I felt like an old lady. It's like I know people who like never stop and they've done like backpacking
Hmm.
trips for years. And I'm like,
Mm.
I don't think I can survive. Like I this last time I was on a 10-month stint, but
Wow.
like I typically do like 1 month in like an Airbnb or like I break it up with like
Hmm.
an activity or go to like a kung fu school or something. But
Hmm.
props, everyone's different, but props to them. That's like that should be an Olympic sport like that.
So how do you prepare for 10 months of like backpacking?
It's challenging, especially if you don't know where you're going to be going.
Hmm.
So this trip, I was like, okay, we're going to be in warm weather. So I don't have to pack a ton. But I still always
Hmm.
take like I try to go on the weather, but sometimes I end up in countries I'm not supposed to be in. So I always take like a long pair of pants and like I bought like a hoodie this time. And you always end up buying clothes while you're there. So I always try
Hmm.
not to pack a lot because like you find awesome stuff you want to get. And when there's no space in your bag, that's just depressing. But I really like I only take a backpack with me. So I have my packing process isn't super organized either.
That's okay.
But I lay out like I just grab my favorite clothes. Don't bring I learned my lesson. Like don't bring clothes you don't wear at home or that you just bring because oh this seems practical because you're never gonna wear it. At least I never do. Like the special hiking pants and the like
Hmm.
I'm throwing on my favorite shorts and like a comfy t-shirt or like my built-in sports bra. Like so I just bring all my favorite pieces that I'm not afraid to lose or completely destroy after wearing like 20 times. And then I just really think about okay, is this practical? Can I mix this with that? Okay,
Hmm.
I probably shouldn't bring these pants because they take up too much room. I'm going to replace them with these pants. And I really just organize it and pack it and make sure everything's efficient. Sometimes I'll bring something fun because I just love it so much, but really taking minimal, bulky things I think is key and making sure everything's versatile, I think is like the pro tip for that.
Yeah. So when you go on these long stints of traveling, do you still work or do you like save up your money beforehand?
It's mainly saving up my money beforehand, I will say. Like I typically work like 4 months really hard. Like sometimes I'm working more than one job and then I save it up.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like starting in June, I started working with my old company and started doing some interviews for them remote. I've also, when I started living in a country, because I just fell in love with it there, I did like teaching English or I've tried remote jobs that then shut down. Like, I just really like go with what I need to keep doing what I want to do.
I
So
love that.
now I'm starting to do more social media work and like I just earned my first $6 off of Facebook. So I was like, yay.
You gotta, everyone starts somewhere, right?
Yes, and now I'm helping other people with their social media, and sometimes I'll do like a work exchange where I take content for a
Hmm.
school in return for some of the experience. I actually did that with the
Nice.
Kung Fu school, so I was like doing their TikTok page, and they gave me like a discount on my stay there.
Very cool. And where did you teach English?
I taught it in Medellin, Colombia,
Wow, how fun.
so I loved it there. I would love to go back, but I lived there for quite some time and I was teaching mainly adults and it was like the eternal spring and ugh, it's still one of my favorite places. I mean, I have a few, but that one like I could live there long term. Like I love Medellin. It's so great.
I haven't been yet, but I've heard such amazing things. Like everyone's like, okay, you've been to Colombia, but you just still gotta go back.
I mean, Colombia, there's just so much to see. But like
Hmm.
the people and the culture there are just everything. Like it's just ugh. And I know Spanish, so it really went a long way. Like I kind of learned it while I was there. Um,
Hmm.
I just
Wow, that's such a cool experience and how you've integrated it into your life to be like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but we're still traveling, we're making it work.
and you know what? You always find a way. Like I don't like I've had so like as unorganized as I am, I've tried before to like plan everything out. Like I can do it. It's not an issue of, but I get there, plans just don't happen. None of the places I put on my saved in my Instagram page, I don't go to those. I like meet locals or I meet a group that I really like and we just go do things. And I think and if like someone wants to like move to a country, they're like, "What advice do you have?" I'm like, "Just go figure it out while you're there." Because everything you read online, other than like tips of like what apps to use and like good neighborhoods to stay in, it doesn't always add up to what's actually there and what you like. So just
Hmm.
going there, figuring it out, like it's really great to go with the flow when you're traveling because it always works out. If you have an open mind and you're a nice person, I swear it will work out for anyone. And there's so many great people in the world that if you have fall on rough times, there's probably someone out there that's gonna lend you a hand, especially abroad. They're just so giving. Even in like communities that have nothing, they will give you or help you in any way that they can. And I just love the support systems that I see in other countries. And I mean, I think that's why I love it so much. Like, because like here we're, in America, it's very individualistic, or in the United States and just being abroad and like having like your neighbors be excited to see you and like inviting you to like their weddings and like you don't know me but okay like it's just such a cool like environment so
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I absolutely agree, especially on the fact that they're very community based and like very helpful. And you see that stark contrast every time you come back to the US where you're just like, wow, thanks.
like I come back home and I'm like living with my family and I'm like but I feel so lonely like Where's my woman at the tienda that says hello to me every morning? Or like my students, or like, I don't know, or like people in the streets. Like in the cities, it's cool, but I'm from like a rural area, so I don't see people that much. And I'm like, oh, I miss people. Like, where's the group activities? Where's the women dancing in the park? Like,
No, seriously, that's one thing. I don't know. Have you been to Vietnam yet?
yes.
So that's one thing I noticed is you would walk around in the morning and you see all of the women just they're getting their groove on, and I'm like, wow, okay,
I
this
love
is how we
it.
do it here. I like it.
If I retire, I'm going there. Like I want to be one of the women in the park. And they do that in China, and like they do that everywhere, I swear. Except, here. It's so fun. And they're in sync. I'm like, how do these people like manage this?
I was wondering too, because sometimes there'll be a person in the front like leading it like it's a class, and then other times it's just people doing it. I'm like, where did you learn this?
Yeah, like when did they have the time to like organize this?
Man, so how was going? Do you need a visa for Laos as well?
Yeah, so I think you need a visa for all four of those Southeast countries now. But Laos,
Even Thailand?
yeah, I think so.
Like in advance or on arrival?
I
That's okay, that's okay.
Google that.
Googleable information.
Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos, for sure you need a visa. So Laos, I have just started making my content for it, and I forgot it's a bit of a tricky country. The visa is easy to get, like super easy. If you're in Vietnam and you're in the north, you can just go to the embassy, and you should have it within like 2 days or a day, depending.
Oh dang.
But definitely like go early in the morning so you can skip the lines because everybody's there and everybody's confused, and the guy behind the desk is not always the nicest. They yelled at us. They were like, faster. I'm like, okay. But if I have one tip, please, everyone going, fly. Like, if you could book one thing in advance, fly from Vietnam to Laos. Have you been there yet by chance?
To Vietnam, but not Laos.
Well, if or vice versa, if someone, I don't know. Well, but if you're going from Vietnam to Laos, fly because I got on a night bus and it was supposed to be like 12 hours and it ended up being like 36 hours. Laos has the worst roads ever. And I mean, like, main highways just have giant potholes in them. Traffic does not obey the straight lines. Like, I mean, you're just in it and you're just going back and forth. And if you're lucky, you might get a seat. If you're unlucky, you might be the girl on like the little crate that you carry like milk in, like sitting there for 8 hours in the minivan, or cramped with like way more people than it should be. But all the roads are terrible, like throughout the entire country. And they do have a good train system, which is
Mhm.
great, but it only gets you to certain parts. And then there's like another famous motorcycle loop in Lao where you'll
Mhm.
get to drive on these terrible roads where you have to like swerve around cows and potholes and unconstructed roads and bridges that definitely wouldn't pass safety standards anywhere else. But it's incredible because it is so raw and you will meet a
Mhm.
ton of other travelers. Like it is like not as visited, but it's still pretty touristic, and like there's like a backpacking loop. It's just a lot less busy. The nightlife there, it definitely exists, but not like say like Thailand or Vietnam. Cambodia, I think, is even better, but it's one of those countries that like you can get stuck. Not stuck, but I showed up, like they just dropped us off and were like, "You're on your own." We didn't have service. There was no taxis in the middle of the night, and we were like, "We don't know how to get anywhere." So luckily someone else had a sim and we like looked up and I was like, "Oh, an hour walk to the hostel. Great." You know? But like then you meet a nice local who has a friend who's a tuk-tuk driver who may or may not be intoxicated from the nightclub we met him outside of. And the locals know where to go, but I don't know how to get to those spots. But and then you get taken to the accommodation. So it works out, but it is a little bit of luck. So if you fly, you can avoid that. And then, of course, like leaving Lao, you get to on the slow boat, which is really cool, which I think everybody should do. But it's definitely not like
Mhm.
you're comfortable. Like, there's no first class. There's no watching Instagram. I know there's nice resorts that exist. I didn't see them there. I did not find that area of Laos, but like it's like It's roughing it a little bit. Like not like, the accommodations aren't like 5 stars, like if the road's -20. But like the people are friendly. Like if you're in Laos, you're probably gonna get invited to a wedding. I swear everyone there went to a I went to one, sort of. Like I
It's
missed
crazy.
the ceremony, but I went drinking in the after party in like this super small village that you can only get to by boat. Like and like those towns, like it's really mellow. Like you're not gonna be like up running around everywhere, but if you like hiking and like if you just want to like an adventure, that's how I'd explain Lao. Like it is an adventure. Like it's something.
It sounds like a time was had.
Yes. I don't know if it's because I was like on month 4 and I was just done with it, but I was definitely ready to leave Lao when I left, but I still had a really good time. But like the constant blackouts and like the dorm rooms without the lockers and the curtains, it started to wear on me a little bit.
It's the curtains that get me. When there's no curtains, I'm like, this might not be the one for me. I need my curtain.
It makes a huge difference. I used to be that person where I was like, well, I don't care where I sleep. I'm starting to like mature where I'm like, yes, I'm going to book the one for $1 more for with the curtain in a locker, or pay a little bit more for breakfast, not go with a $3 one that has like a dilapidated bunk bed in the corner. So, I think everyone should go through that phase though. I think everyone needs to start at
For
like
sure.
I only have like $1,000 in my bank account, and then you move to like, it's worth going home to have a little bit higher end experiences sooner. My first backpacking trip, I lost so much weight because my big budget hack was like not eating. It was like 2 meals a day, one meal, fine. I'm on a night bus, I'm not moving, I don't need food. No, don't do that. A, the food's the best part of traveling. B, super unhealthy.
I was just about to say, there's no way, because it's the way in America. I'll be like, I'll eat once a day. And then when I'm abroad, I'm like, all right, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Where's my snack?
Oh my gosh, especially in Asia. I felt like all I did was eat all day long because there's so
Yes.
many good food, like street food, all vendors all around the corner, boba at least twice a day. Like it's especially in Vietnam, like the banh mi's and the pho and
Yes, the pho. Oh my gosh. That's how I felt like just walking around. I'd be like, I'm not even hungry, but I'm about to get this banana roti and
yeah,
eat it while I walk.
if it's like $1.75, it's like I know it adds up, but like I'm a splurge. I'm gonna get a drink, a meal, and dessert. Like
No, and like the food, I feel like that's the biggest part about traveling for me is just trying like the different foods and stuff like that.
yeah,
You know?
100%. I kind of been like everyone has their own little thing that they really like, but for me it's like trying to learn a little bit of the language, the food, and like dancing. Like I feel like it really helps me understand the culture when I can like do all three of those. I'm like, oh, great.
So do you take like dance classes when you go places, or do you just kind of like show up and observe?
It depends, but I typically always try to take a dance class. I had a terrible time trying to find dance classes in Asia.
Hmm.
They probably exist. The only dance class I found was like a pool dance class in Thailand, which is super fun. Everyone should try that.
Still fun. Still
Yeah,
fun.
but not really cultural, and that definitely was started by like a foreign tourist. So like not exactly. But in South America, like like it's so easy. There's free lessons every night and somewhere. So like that's where I really started getting into dancing, and hopefully one day I'll learn like an Asian dance, but it just wasn't in the
Yeah.
cards this trip.
So, South America. How was Bolivia?
Oh, Bolivia. That's another. So that one, the visa is hard to get as an American. It's expensive and you have to make
Mm.
sure all your paperwork is right in order. You have your accommodations booked in advance. You have an
Hmm.
exit ticket. They're sticklers about it. And if you're lucky, the tour you book with will help you. I did like I kind of cheated a little bit. I went with like there's a thing called Peru Hop, and they'll do like a Bolivian crossing, and they help you a
Mm.
little bit more than maybe just taking a random local bus. But it's definitely doable. It's just that one's a bit tricky. It needs a little preparation in advance, but Google typically gives you all the forms. The country
So,
itself, oh, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, so you went with like a tour group or you still like did hostels backpacking?
I still did like hostels and backpacking, but it wasn't a tour group. But it's like I've only ever seen it in Peru. It's literally called Peru Hop, and you can get on and off the bus, but it goes from like city to city to like cities, and you can schedule the bus for any time on any day, and it will like drop you off at the next city. It does nothing else. They might do like fun stops on along the route to that city, but it's just like
Hmm.
a large purchase ticket to like kind of explore, which is I don't think it's much more than doing it by yourself, and it was so convenient. So pro tip for Peru, Peru hop. Super easy way to get
Okay.
around.
Yeah. Good to know. But so yeah, Bolivia, like where did you stay? What did you do?
Yeah.
Tell me everything.
We started in like I think it was Copacabana, which is like the highest altitude lake in the world. Um,
Mm.
for the Peru side to that one, and Lake Titicaca, but like we were only there for like 2 nights. There's not much to do. And then we went to La Paz, which
Hmm.
is an intense city. It's not intense. Like now going to like when I was there it was intense, but after being in like Southeast Asia, it was like hello. But it was kind of like a raw, dreary, really dry because of like the altitude.
Hmm.
Bolivia, the food there, they like have a known problem where you're going to get food poisoning if you go to Bolivia. Like if you're even yeah, which I mean it's worth it. Like I still think everyone should go to Bolivia. So hear me out. Maybe don't be as risky with street food when it comes to Bolivia. Maybe eat in more
Hmm.
established. But they have like it's just not like their hygiene is bad.
Hmm.
That's where like the food comes in. But they're learning and they're fixing that. Like it is like there's like actual like programs there that are trying to help people change.
Hmm.
So my favorite parts about Bolivia are probably the rainforest at the basin, where you can actually spend like a week in like the rainforest, like camping on the ground. Or there are survival packages where people go and they like teach you how to survive off the land. I wouldn't do that. I watched two guys coming out of the Amazon as I was going in, and they were like, they looked like they survived something, and I was like, no, I'm good. The scariest thing in the Amazon are the ants, and I don't want to sleep where they don't know I sleep because they were like, yeah, the animals know that we camp here, and they kind of understand to stay away from us. But if you go and these survival things and you just plop down your tent and random stuff, like the ants and the animals have like paths they go through every night. So if you just happen to be in their space, they're gonna enter your space. And I'm like, I ran into some fire ants in there and I was like, I don't ever want to be in their space again. The Pampas is probably like a more like luxurious stay. Not luxurious, but like you're not really gonna
Hmm.
but it was just you just see all these animals that you see on National Geographic, like the pink dolphins in the river, the monkeys swinging in the trees, like the capybara all over the bankside, like giant crocodiles, like beautiful sunsets, and you get to go anaconda hiking and like find like anacondas, and you get to go fishing for piranhas. You get to eat what you catch, which I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do, but they cook them for you. So it was just really cool. I loved it. Like that is one of my favorite experiences I've had. And it's the cheapest place to do that. Go to the Amazon.
Dang.
Because like in Brazil and Colombia and in Ecuador, it's a lot more expensive than in Bolivia.
Mm.
And then of course, you have the world after that, you go to like the world largest salt flats. So like dry season or
Hmm.
wet season, both are beautiful. And that's just like going to like a different planet where like you're just in like this 4x4 and you're just driving and all of it is white sand around, not sand, salt. And that was gorgeous. So,
Hmm.
I mean, there are some like there's some like must see places that are in Brazil for sure. I mean, not Brazil, in Bolivia, but the Amazon I'm pretty sure is where I got my food poisoning. I had like a mystery meat that I think did it. Honestly, there's a few theories we have. We all got amoebas there. We don't really know what caused it. It could have been the faulty bamboo filter straw in the Amazon. It could have been them washing the plates with the water out of the Amazon River. There could have been a lot of things that went wrong there. But we were down and out for about a week and we just chilled. So it was nice.
A whole week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How long did you spend in the Amazon?
We were there for 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks about.
Dang.
And it was in Rouen Labake. And then it is a bit it's time consuming to get there because like the only way in and out is
Mhm.
the same road, so you can't really like loop back around. So we all were sick. And the day we all got sick, we were on a 36-hour bus ride. And to get to I think it was Sucre in Bolivia, and I mean, my one friend ended up in the hospital. Luckily, me and my other friend were just like in the hospital, just kind of laying and sleeping, but she got it worse. So, in
Dang.
Bolivia hospitals, talk about an experience. It was like going back to the 19. Like, this is what I imagine the hospitals like. Someone would come in and like with a little cart every like hour or half hour and like manually take her temperature and like put things under her armpits and like do the blood pressure thing like in this little really old machine, and like the hospital just looks really outdated, and it's not somewhere I'd want to seek medical attention, and luckily it wasn't anything. I mean, I guess it was serious, but it wasn't at the I don't know.
A really bad case of dehydration.
Yeah, I mean, they told her she had amoebas. We assumed that's what we had, so we went and got the antibiotics from the pharmacy. But she was there for probably 5 days, 5 nights. So it was an
Dang.
experience. So yeah, and it was a nice town. We were in. It was chill. After that, we pretty much only ate Subway. We found American food and we went. We want that. We're not. We can't do anything exotic. At least until we went to the salt flats, and then we were fine again and eating like alpaca and all kinds of things. But
Ooh, yum.
it's actually really good.
Mhm.
Alpaca and llama. They're pretty good meats.
I haven't had llama yet, but I tried alpaca in Peru and I was like, wow, okay. Ooh,
I feel bad. They're so cute, but I mean, so are cows. So
they're super adorable, but you're just, sometimes you gotta try it. You gotta try it once.
you're in the country. I mean, I'm assuming you tried guinea pig too, koi, right?
Man, you know what? I really wanted to. I really, really wanted to. I went to Peru with my grandma and we were driving through the like towns and stuff and I kept seeing the guinea pig. I was like, oh, we should try that. My girl was like, oh, the opportunity just never like presented itself to like in person. I could just do it. It was like always driving by. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. At least you saw it. That's part of the fun.
But you tried it?
Yes, it's good.
How was it?
I like guinea pig.
Really?
It's really good. Yeah. It probably depends on who cooks it. It's really bony and there's not a lot of meat, but
Really?
I'd eat it again. Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're so fluffy. Because even when I saw them, I was like, wow, those are some really big guinea pigs.
Yeah, they are bigger for sure, but they still don't have a lot of meat on them. I think it's a lot of, I don't know,
Fluff.
fluff. Because even when you see them at
Defer.
like the markets, like filleted, it's not a lot. It's like a delicacy.
Yeah, it is pretty thin.
Yeah, it's thin meat. So it's kind of like squirrel, if you've ever had squirrel.
Yeah, I could see the similarities. Okay. So, so how do you plan all of these like trips? Like, does it just come to you like you're like on Instagram and you're like, oh, I should go here, or like, how does that come to fruition?
I really Planning's a strong word. I kind of just go where I am excited about or like to, but I think Instagram's a huge inspiration. Seeing someone else do it, seeing things
Mhm.
that are out there that I didn't know about. And once you travel and you're in a hostel, you meet people from all over the world and they tell you about a place and you're like, I have to go there. Or like, they're like, I'm going to this city. I'm like, I didn't even know that city existed in Mexico. I want to go there. So like, it just kind of changes. But I got on like this kick when I first started traveling. I was like, I'm going to go to all 195 countries. And I was like,
Yeah.
that was my goal. And then I started traveling and I just couldn't do the fast-paced travel. I just wanted to learn so
Hmm.
much more because I loved studying about culture and that was like my college degree. So then I was like, okay, if I don't see them all, I'd rather like live in a country for 3 months or a year and like so I might not get to see all, but I'm on 30 and I'm not 30 yet, so I feel like we still have a shot to see it all, but we'll see.
Yes.
But
Life is long. You've got time.
yeah, but pretty much, I booked my one way. My first big one was like I booked my one way ticket to Mexico, um, where I was like, I gotta travel more, and I was like, this was the plan, right? My plan. I was like, I'll start in Mexico, I'll go the whole way down to the end, then I'll fly to Africa, and I'll do Africa, and then I'll go to Asia, and then I'll end in Australia, and I'll do a worker's visa, and I'll make all my money back. I got stuck in Colombia. So, I mean, I made it to Chile, but like, I went back to Colombia. So, plans change, right?
You said, now I'm gonna live here for a couple years and then resume.
Yeah. And then I was like,
You just hit pause.
you know what? I need to make more money than this English school is teaching me. So I'm gonna go back work 4 months and then let's plan the next backpacking trip. So then I was like, I really wanted to go to Asia, so that got next
Mhm.
priority. So
Of course. So how was going through Mexico? Like what cities did you find that you really enjoyed?
so I started in Mexico City, which I really loved. It's just like there's so much to do there and see. And like
Mhm.
the is it Teotihuacan? Like that is an incredibly ancient city that like it's worth going there just to see that. And then I went like doing the map. And then I went to Oaxaca, which is the best food in Mexico in my opinion. I loved the food in Oaxaca City.
I've heard that.
Yes. Mole,
All right.
mezcal, elotes on every street corner. Yes. So great. It's actually this city I fell in love with salsa and did salsa dancing, which is crazy. But and then after that, we went to Puerto Escondido, which is like a really cool beach town. I think if like I liked because I didn't go to I went to Cancun and like that area, the Yucatan, a year
Mhm.
later. So I was really on like a different side, like not like the backpacker route, not really the resort route.
Mhm.
And then after that, I went to Chiapas, which I think Chiapas is more people need to go there, like to San Cristobal, because it's really indigenous and like they're really
Mm.
tied with their roots. They're really political, not political. I would say they're very activists there. It's really cool to see because of like that's the city where Coca-Cola is taking their clean drinking water and they're not having their rights met by the Mexican government because they're indigenous people. And it's like it was just a really eye-opening experience. And the town is so cute and there's so much to do there and a lot of nature and I don't know a lot of people that go there and I think that's missed out. Like I think like Chiapas and Oaxaca City are probably like my two favorite cities. It's just very it's Mexico. Like that. It's not like a resort or like a beach with a bunch of tourists partying. Like it's that's Mexico in those two areas. So
Yeah, that's all. I'm always trying to figure out like when people are like, "Oh yeah, I go to Mexico." I'm like, "Where do you go? Where should I go? What cities?" And I'm like, outside of like the coastal ones, I'm like, "Where should I really go?"
yes, like don't get me wrong, the beaches are beautiful in the Yucatan, but there's beautiful beaches all over the world. And I don't know. Yeah, Oaxaca City, Chiapas. I think Mexico City for some time there for sure. And there's a lot of other little
Mhm.
towns even around there that are super beautiful to see. But definitely, I would learn a little bit of Spanish if you don't already know some. If you're going, it helps. You do not need it. I met a ton of people that know zero. They got around fine. Um, but with Mexico, I always felt safe but I think a really good tip is like be definitely careful walking at night by yourself. If you ask the hostel, they'll say, okay, yes, you can take a night bus to the next city, or I don't recommend it, take the day bus or take the night bus. And just what they tell you, listen to it. I don't want to scare anyone away from traveling Mexico because it's like compared to like the States and even Europe, like I had less trouble in Mexico. But like I got to like the hostel one night and the girl was like, my night bus just got shot up, like and we were like, whoa, what do you mean? And only one person had a horror story, right, out of the month I was there.
Hundreds.
Yeah. But just listen to the advice that people who live there give you. Like, hey, maybe don't travel at
Mhm.
night. Or like, hey, take a taxi. You know, sometimes I walked at night by myself a block or two, and I was fine. But I think now, in my older, wiser age, I think that it's worth the few bucks you spend for safety because, yeah, safety's worth the
For
dollars
sure.
versus the amount of money you'll spend in trauma and therapy. You know, we all learn. Luckily, I learned it the easy way, not the hard way, right? So,
Yes. So what really got you into traveling?
you know, I've been trying to like kind of pinpoint it over the years. I honestly, I really do believe. My great grandfather is from Spain. He was an immigrant here.
Mm.
I never actually met him, but I always heard stories of like my great grandma being from Czechoslovakia and him being from Spain, and I always wanted to learn Spanish and go to Spain. Like that's what started
Hmm.
it. And then when I got older, I learned there was like other countries, and I went on a trip with my school to Costa Rica. After that trip, it was like I was addicted. Like I was like, I love this. I need to go out of the country again. And I just like, I never stopped. Like, I just wanted more and more and more. And then I studied international studies. And then I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much of the world out there that no one knows about.
Hmm.
And I think that's just kind of what got it started. Like, I was always thinking abroad. And then I think once you crack the window open a little bit, you just are a lot more open to leaving. And now I meet people that are like, why are you leaving? And I'm like, why are you staying? Like, do you know what's out there? Like, have you been outside? Like, there is so many cool things. Like, I mean, we have a good country, well, like that allows us to travel, but it's not even in the top 28.
I know what you mean. No, for real. That's how I see it too. Like even my grandma, she'll be like, "I can never keep up with where you're going," and I'm like,
It's, we keep people's lives entertaining. They're like, "Where are you at now?" And I'm like, "Oh, just casually in for Peru." And they're like, "Okay, how long are you back?" And now everyone like asks, like, "Oh, how long are you back for this time? Oh, where are you going next?" Like, I'm like, "Yes." Like, I feel like I succeeded in life.
"That's your goal." I love that. Like you're known for that. That's always such a good feeling when everyone's just like, "Okay, so like, what's next?" And you're like, "So happy that you know me."
Thank you for asking. Let me tell you.
So what is next?
Next is Brazil. I'm so excited because I'm going to be there for New Year's Eve and I'm going to be there for Carnival and I'm going to be in Carnival. Yes, I'm
Might
so
have to meet
excited.
up with you there.
Yeah, are you going?
That's the plan. That's the plan. We're planning on doing Brazil's carnival and then Trinidad's carnival and just kind of yeah.
That's gonna be epic.
Yes, so we'll have to link up over there and be like,
Yes.
so where you at in Rio?
You should come to the parade on the 16th and watch me, my big.
That is gonna be so exciting. I'll try to scope you out on the video. Man, look! I'm gonna be like in the very back.
I'll be the one that falls over because I don't know how much the whole thing weighs. Like, I don't know.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it home, but it's for the experience. It's probably the most planned I've ever had a trip because I already have my accommodation. Because you kind of have to when it comes to
Hmm.
Brazil, because it's busy. Everyone seems to be going there. I swear, everyone I know
Especially
is going
during
there,
yes.
and it's awesome.
Especially I feel like I keep seeing that a lot for New Year's this year too. Everyone's like Brazil's the place to be and I'm like, all right.
And that's why I'm going. And then I was like, you know what? I'm already there. Why don't I just stay for Carnival? So
Why don't I? So are you gonna spend some time in like Sao Paulo and like other places, or are you just mostly gonna stay in Rio? They're just kind of like, I'll figure it out.
yeah, I'm just gonna kind of figure it out. But I am going to be in Rio for at least 3 months. So I'll definitely like, I want to take samba. Like, I want to learn samba.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, that's like my big goal there. Maybe try one of their martial arts, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it because I'm gonna say it wrong. I always do.
I don't even know it.
Capoeira, like with it's a lot of
Yeah.
kicking and or jujitsu.
Ooh,
So I'm gonna, and then after that, maybe I'll extend my visa and go see what else Brazil has. I don't know. We'll see.
I love that for you. Well, you've already given so much advice throughout this whole podcast, but if you had somebody else that was like, I just really need, what would you tell me to do? What advice? What would you say?
Honestly, I think it's go on Google Flights, find the cheapest ticket, and book it. Maybe look up if there's a huge festival waiting for you, because prices are going to go up and you're going to want your accommodation soon, but it's it's not scary. Like I know it
Mhm.
is. Like obviously like I still get nerves when I show up in a new country, but I feel like everyone has such a fear about traveling abroad. And even if you're alone, which you're never alone for too long, especially if you're staying in a hostel, but it's just taking it all in, being able to sit and like you think you have time for journal, but you won't. Trust me, you won't. I always think I'm gonna journal or read a book this time. I never do. But like as long as you like can find a cheap flight and like have like I think people's biggest problem is like finding time off. So
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, like, quit your job, buy the flight, just go check it out. It's so much cheaper abroad. Like, one weekend going out in the States will get you like a month in Thailand, like, depending on what city you're in. But it's so doable. Like if someone just books their first 3 nights in a hostel, I promise you, you will figure it out. As long as it's like 8+ stars on Hostel World, you're fine.
Yeah, I love that advice because I too am always on Google Flights. I have these days off. Where can I go? And that's definitely how a few trips of mine have been booked. That's a great piece of advice. I love Google Flights.
Also, like I know everyone wants to go to like Italy or Spain or like Thailand, but all the countries around the world are kind of similar. Like, if one country has this beautiful waterfall, I guarantee you can find it in another country that's cheaper. So I'm because my proudest moment is I got my sister and my mom to visit me in Colombia. They did not want to go. They fought me
Mhm.
tooth and nail on going. And I finally got them there. They're like, I want to go to Europe. If I'm going to spend the money, if I'm going to take the time off. And I'm like, you're never going to go. Come with me. It was their favorite vacation they've ever had. And they absolutely love Colombia and they want to go back. They're like, I felt so safe there. I felt safer there than I do in our hometown. And I'm like, I've only been saying it for
Ding,
like
ding, ding, ding,
20
ding.
years now. So, yeah, I mean, just,
Good for you.
yeah.
Good way to be that person in their life. Good for you. You did it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and for all of your time. And thank you for sharing all of your stories. It's really been such a delight listening to them.
Thank you for having me on. It was such a pleasure. And maybe see you in Rio.